Okay, so now what is data validation in Excel? So data validation in Excel is used to limit a user to provide inputs to a certain cells or input ranges. For a data with a large number of users, there can be multiple formats for the same data. So we use the data validation where we provide a predefined inputs for a user to select among to avoid multiple different formats of the same data. Okay, data validation is available in the data tools of data tab. Okay, data validation allows you to make a list of the entries that are allowed or not allowed to be entered in a worksheet cell. Create an error alert warning message to explain more about the allowed values in a worksheet cell, and create messages to be shown when an invalid data is entered in a cell. Okay, and these are the uses of data validation. Okay, now see what is the purpose. The purpose of data validation is to restrict users from entering the invalid data values in the worksheet. It is also helpful to quickly gather, sort, and study the data, having said that the values have a criteria defined and can be seen via the data validation tool. Okay, we can see what are the criteria that are defined already. This acts as a guideline to the users while entering the data, as custom messages mentioning the valid data format are displayed when a worksheet cell is selected. Okay, this is why data validation is used. We will now see how can we implement this in Excel. Okay, so you see here data, and when this cell, I think it's 1 2 3 4 I think when B5 is selected, it shows password. Please give your password. Okay, so we will do this. And data validation, we can do go from data and then we go data validation. Okay, let's go here. Let's check. So right now what we did before this is we created the list, right? We created this list. Now, this thing that I need to put I need to create a form maybe. Okay, and the form needs the date of birth, date, month, and year. Okay, date, month, and year. Okay, so let's put now data validation over this. Okay, now we'll go to formulas. Okay, okay, sorry, we'll go data and we go data validation, right? Okay, now let's see. The first thing which I want to show you here is we put the month. Okay, now how do we put the month here? We do have the months here, right? So what we can do is I go to data validation by selecting this cell. From allow any value, I just click on this and I click on list. Okay, click on list and now the source. So I can write months there directly, or I can just select this. So whenever I select this completely, it shows is equal to months, right? Because these cells we had named as months. So it will now not no more show C2 to C13. It will show months when you select this complete range. Okay. So in cell drop down, yes, ignore blank. Okay. So right now let's do an okay. Okay, so now whenever I select this cell, if I click this, see all my values are visible. So I have to select anything based on this values only. Okay, I cannot select anything else other than the value. So this, so what happens is this prevents the user from entering any invalid data. So for example, I have created a program at the back end. Okay, and that program expects months to come in only in the first three letters of it. So February should come in Feb and March should come as March. Okay, so that program expects the months to come as the first three letters of it. Now some users might not understand, okay, and they might go on adding the complete month name. Okay, so that is invalid. So that there is no confusion between the users who are using my form which I have created in Excel. I just can put a list and I can give it so that users can just go to this list and just check for which month the user wants to do. Okay, so this is list. Okay, from a list of inputs, a user can select a particular input. Okay, next let's go to date. Okay, again data validation. Okay, so now let's only allow a whole number which is between 1 and 31. Okay, so a number between 1 and 31 is what we can enter. Okay, so let's see what happens. 1, fine. Let's enter 0. Okay, this value doesn't match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell, right? So we had mentioned 1 and 31, so anything between 1 and 31 would be valid for this. Because I have put 0, so it's showing me some error, okay, that this value doesn't match. Okay, now if I do cancel, it will again go back to 1, which it earlier was. Okay, or if I click on retry, okay, if I click on retry, it will again come here. So it will keep on coming unless I put the correct value. Okay, unless I put the correct value. Now, right now what happens is Excel is not letting me move forward, okay, without doing the correct value. This might be a case that there are some scenarios where you might need to enter incorrect value, unknowingly. There might be some issues with the data and you might to know some other kind of data. Okay, so in that case, you don't want Excel to stop you from entering some invalid data. So in that case, what you can do is in data validation, okay, in the error alert, instead of stop, do warning. Okay, so stop is the most rigorous one, where you can't go forward without selecting the correct value for the cell. Warning is, it will tell you that see, there's this error, do you want to continue? If you say yes, then it will continue. Okay, it won't be like that, it will stop you from entering a data into it ever and ever again. Okay, so let's give a title to this. So warning info. Okay, the error message is please enter correct data. Okay, okay, so now if I do this, please enter correct data and warning info, right? Whatever I wrote, it came up here. So it says continue, I say yes, continue. So what happens, it takes up 0 now. If I wouldn't have selected continue, it would have again gone back to the same loop and it would have asked you to put the correct data once again. Okay, now what else do we have here? So warning, information and stop. Again, stop is, what is warning and information is when you want to give an information about, you know some cell. Okay, cool. So this was about how do you put data validation. Now another part of data validation is to check for any invalid data. Now for example, you see this list, right? So here what I can do is, this session contains more than one type of validation. It is current settings and continue. Okay, so previously I might have done some values here. Okay, I might have put some data, some data validation. So that's why it was showing that. Now what I'll do is, see, enter. Okay, let me do this. Clear validation. Okay, let's clear everything and let's have a new place. Okay, 2, 3, -4, -5. Okay, Now I select this, I go to data validation. Okay. When this cell is selected, okay, when these cells are selected, what do you want to show? Enter carefully. Okay, so I enter some message. Okay, settings is okay right now. Okay, now you see whenever I select any cell here, it shows me enter carefully, please see the direction restrictions. Okay, this is how we can, put a comment for our cells. Okay, and I go here. Now let me just do this. Circle invalid data. Okay, so when I circle invalid data, because this was not supposed to take negative. Okay, so let me select this and let me show you how we did this. Data validation settings should be a whole number which is greater than 0, right? And then input message is already there. Okay. So you see now 2 of them got selected in red. Okay, so this was data validation. Okay, where you can put your data and you can see which data is incorrect, and you can treat them accordingly. Okay, or whatever you want to do, you can do it. Okay, now next thing. Okay, next what we will